Everyone seems to complain about dating apps, but I only met men who want to get married on these apps. And today I want to share what I think I'm doing differently because usually I end up on a date within a week and I'm also not like super emotionally attached to a match that I have. And I just heard from some of my friends that they delete the app because it's just too much. They have a crush and those high hopes, and then I just end up being disappointed because someone ghosts them. I have a process for that so it doesn't happen to you. And if you're just pondering around this idea, maybe I should give it a try, maybe I should try the dating apps, but you're not really sure what to expect, then this might be for you. I'm Anna, and this is Love Diary Reflections and Activations around love and dating. So, I started using dating apps, I think 1.5 years ago, so in February 2025. And I started using them because I studied just polarity and feminine energy and rotational dating, which is dating for marriage. That's what I do. I studied that for over like 3 or 4 years. And then there was this point where I was just in the streets and I was always seeing men. And I thought, what is freaking wrong with me? I never felt that way before. I felt like biology is kicking in a little bit. And I remember being on the phone with my best friend and just telling her, I don't know what to do. Like, it's so weird. I'm always looking at men, but I don't want to get married yet. Like, what should I do? And she said, well, I think you've learned a lot about polarity and you have a very clear structure on how you're going to date, so you're pretty safe. Why not give it a try and go on dates, even if you don't feel ready for marriage yet? And maybe along the way, you will feel ready. And I was very nervous, but I think a few weeks later, I just went on the dating apps. I created a profile. I studied like how to use dating apps also for over a year, so I invested in courses to learn that. Yeah. And so I was on the dating apps for that simple reason that I didn't want to wait anymore. I just made that decision and it felt very empowering. So what I love about dating apps is you can decide today to put yourself out there without actually needing to get out of sight, your bedroom and everything. But you can now make a move towards the love that you're dreaming of instead of waiting like for this romantic, how's it called? Like meet cute? Meet cute is that romantic, I don't know, the coffee is spilled over you because you're walking too fast and you bump into this guy or whatever. So instead of waiting, it's just like making a choice and letting yourself be visible and help the man that is for you to see you. That was my story. And honestly, I had from the get-go, the first man that I met from the dating apps was very sweet. He actually lived very close to me. And it was just like the perfect day. Like he took me out to a cafe, and then on the second day we had this whole like picking me up with the car and giving me a bouquet of flowers and just complimenting me all the time. That was very sweet. And it was actually the first time I ever in my life went on a date. So I was so grateful and I was just thanking God, thank you so much that I had like such a good first experience, because if the first experience is like a little off, then you're more likely to be like, oh no, I don't want to do it again, right? But I had really the best experiences with dating apps ever since I started in 2025. And I think it's how I meet 90% of my dates. Yes, I'm not really into social media, so I was also a little, I don't know if this is like going to work. And apps like Tinder, for example, they have a really bad reputation for just being for hookups. But I met like every single man that I ended up on a date with wanted to get married. And later I found out that's not like the norm for most people. Like some of my girlfriends are like, why are you so lucky? Like, what do you do differently? And now we want to go a little bit into what I think I am doing different. The first is more the energy and the mindset. So I am very clear and intentional that I want something that's long term and for life. Like I have this vision, and I'm also the reciprocal of this. So I'm very embodied, right? I don't have casual dates. I think if you have casual dates, it's way harder to meet men that are marriage minded because you're already in this habit. Like I have, for example, a friend of mine that on Tinder she only met like hookup kind of men, and I'm on the same app and I only meet marriage men. Like, what is the difference? Because this friend, she didn't really believe in marriage, and she was open for those kind of encounters. So it's also just the beginning is always the energy. So being very clear in what you want, and if you're a more private person and you're more romantic, the chances are better that you don't even meet those kind of men that are just weird, because you don't send those signals in the universe. So that's definitely one part where I think I'm lucky in a way, that because that's what I send out. Like, I'm very pure, I'm very open, and also very clear in my intentions and what I want. So it's easy to spot what man is a match for this and who is not. Okay, so first energy, and if you're really clear that you're like, this is your intention, then you can, let go a little bit of the worries, because just because it happened to someone else doesn't mean that it's happening to you. Okay. Now, my biggest mindset is that dating apps, I think the whole term is a little bit confusing. I don't think that those apps are meant to date, right? You're not actually dating. What the apps are for is it's a possibility to start a conversation. So actually, I don't have written in my profile that I'm looking for marriage. And still, I only ended up with men who wanted to get married. This is very interesting, and I still wonder why this is going to happen, but I think it's also very important just for you to be in this mindset. You want to go off the apps, because what happens to a lot of people, and I think that's why also a lot of frustration happening, is they text with men for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they don't really make plans to see her. Or maybe they say, yeah, let's go on a date, but it never happens. Well, because there is a part of you probably that just is still thinking that you can date and get to know someone on the apps. That's what I see with a lot of girls, and I don't believe that. I'm not a big phone person, I'm not a big social media person, so for me it's really just a tool to meet men. And I met so wonderful men that lived very, very close to me, but I would have never met them without the apps, because they're just like me. They're at work, or they're at home, or in the gym, or out with friends, but there was no touch point for our lives, even though we were a very good match in a way. I mean, I didn't marry them, but in a way they were a good match. So what is very important is just knowing, okay, I'm on the apps just to spark some conversation, like just to feel a little bit the vibe. But actually, I'm always just so surprised how the vibe when you write is very similar to when you're in person. So when I felt a little weird writing with someone and I actually went on a date with them, it was, yeah, I noticed it was weird in person too. So it's just like, imagine you are on the streets and there's just a stranger and you have a little chit chat. The only difference is that it takes a little longer because they don't always, just respond to you in time. So it's just having this little banter, a little flirt. It's not to have the deepest conversations or really to get to know them. The point is to get off the apps and then meet in person. That's my mindset. That's how I go on the apps. Okay. The next point, so just the mindset, okay, it's not a dating app, it's to get to know someone app and to get off the apps. That's why you use an app. Because it's easy to get stuck in the texting phase, and I don't want that for you. Okay, what is key is your profile. Dating apps are a little bit like marketing. So you need to position yourself in a way that speaks to the kind of man that you want to attract. What I do is, first of all, my pictures, I wear turtlenecks in all of my pictures. It's personally like a style that I like, and I was taking the pictures in winter time, so I don't wear turtlenecks all the time. But I show less skin, like the minimal amount of skin. You see my face and my fingers, my hands, like that's the only skin you really see there. And one friend of mine that's also using the dating apps, and she sometimes ends up with like guys who just tell her, oh, you're so sexy, and hey, do you have time tonight? She said like your pictures, like they just scream long-term relationship, right? Because I'm very modest. I wear like pearl earrings. I don't know if I have a picture here. I wear pearl earrings and just a pink shirt, but it's like turtleneck, so less skin possible. And then also my hobbies that I show in my pictures are very, more classy. Like I play the piano, for example. That's something you see, or you see me reading a book in a library. So that's also where how you filter out. If you have like really show a lot of skin, if you're in the bikini, whatever, it attracts more of those guys who say, "Hey, sexy, like, what are you doing tonight?" And this has never happened to me. I think my pictures are really a part of this. So really be aware of how you position yourself. Of course, we don't always wear turtlenecks. Like I don't wear turtlenecks all the time. It's just I'm portraying more of this like innocent side of me. Of course, I have a flirty side, but just that's more what I portray because that's the kind of man that I'm looking for that are more into something serious. And of course, they want to be attractive, but they're also looking for a deeper connection. And it works actually both ways. Like when I swipe, there are men who have like those naked upper body pictures. Like the first picture, I'm like, okay, you're not looking for something serious. Like sometimes they write, I'm looking for something serious. No, you're not. You're not. You're also open for casual things. And the man I'm looking for, he's not open for casual things. Like, so a few men have told me they've never done something casual. It's just not their thing. And they really like my profile pictures because they felt so modest. Okay, so it's how you present yourself. Really be aware of what pictures you choose so it speaks to the right kind of men. Sorry. Yeah. So we had the mindset of what the apps are for and profile. Okay, the next thing is I have very clear boundaries. When we're talking about you stay on the apps and then you write, because that will happen if you've never been on dating apps. I just started a week ago, I think, 1.5 weeks ago. I had a break after the last men that I saw. I just needed some time to like reflect and integrate and focus a little bit on my job and my financial situation. But I think 1.5 weeks ago I started using Hinge for the first time. I was only on Tinder and Parship before, but I kind of like Hinge. Now I'm on Hinge, and honestly, like sometimes drives me crazy as well. Like I had men, like we had good conversations, and then they didn't respond from me like for 3 or 4 days. There are men, like you feel like okay, they can't even like really like is this German? Like they're German, but that's like you don't even use a verb. Like where's the verb in your sentence? So it's a numbers game. Okay, so there will be a lot of men that you want to match with. Then are a few men from all those matches. I think let's say like in the last 1.5 weeks, I think it was maybe about 40 like men that I swiped on. From those 40 men, I think I had like 10 matches, I would say. And from these 10 matches, I now plan to go on a date with 3 men. Okay, so it's really a filter. And don't expect you oh it's just a cute guy and then you match and this will be the man that's for life. It can happen. I mean, some people say they only match with one person, they went on one date and then they got married. That's nice, but honestly that's not really me because I when I started and right now I don't feel completely ready for marriage, but I also know that I need to put myself out there and make my own experiences in order to grow and be ready for marriage then. So I'm dating right now with the intention of marriage, but I'm still very relaxed and just like, oh, let's see where this goes. Just gaining some experience. And if there's a man that really makes it, then I'm open for it, but I'm not too stressed about it. If you're really looking for this one man, dating apps will drive you crazy because you will have all those hopes like it's such a cute profile and we were writing so nice, but he hasn't written like in 3 or 4 days, and then you're so like you have this emotional breakdown almost, and you just want to delete. You just want to delete the app, and you need a lot of emotional control. So if we come back to this idea of the clear boundaries, I know that a dating app is just to have casual banter. It's not that I need to find my man right away. It's just to have some conversation. It's just that's also in the profile. If you have like some prompts there, like some of your interests in there, I write, for example, that I love to read, and I write a little bit about my favorite book, and then I ask, hey, what book can you recommend? That's, for example, a starting point for a conversation. And that's what the apps are for in the beginning. You don't want to go very deep, and it's not about now I have to find my man because it will destroy you. Like if you have those high hopes and fantasize about like, oh, and then I go on a date and then we'll have babies and then you buy me a house, it will just like, yeah, I see that with friends. Like one of my friends, she just deleted the app because it was too much for her because she had so high hopes for all those men. Like, no, Emotional boundaries. I generally barely date with emotions. That sounds weird, but let me explain. I have a very emotionally fulfilling life. I've been single for my whole life, so I have my piano, my business that I'm working on. I have some friends. I'm mostly at home by myself, I have to admit. But I have all those things that fulfill me in so many ways that when I'm on the apps, it's just a tool. And once we are on a date, then he exists. Before that, like, I don't dream about him. I've never met this man on the app. It's like, I don't know. And maybe we text, maybe in the middle he starts ghosting me. Oh, okay. I guess we won't see each other then. I'm very much detached because a dating app's just a very, very small portion of my life. You know, I have this full life and you have people that care about you, so you don't need that from a random guy that you have never met. Yeah, so I have very clear emotional boundaries with myself, like how much I allow myself to fantasize and just feel like in love with a guy that I've never met. Like I don't allow myself that. If I catch myself in a moment where I feel very emotional about it, like someone that I've never met in my life, then I always know, oh, I need to do something for myself. Like maybe I need to go on a walk or play the piano because dating apps are not there to fulfill me emotionally or entertain me. It's just a tool. Okay, so that's one of the really emotional, energetic boundaries I have with myself. I don't allow myself to be overly invested in someone I've never met. And I can only do that because I have a lot of emotional fulfilling things in my life that I work on and I pour into my own cup. Now there are also very clear boundaries that I have regarding men. So it's not just about emotions, but let's say that's the whole thing, right? With the ghosting. Let's say you had a nice conversation, and that happened to me like very recently. I had a very nice conversation with a gentleman who was very, very nice. Then he didn't answer my last question. Like, okay. And I give men like 3 days, okay, 3 to 4 days max. I think I'm a little bit generous with this, but like 3 days until like they have to reply. If they did not reply, and here's the boundary, I just wish them the best and say to them, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I really value, communication, and I think we're not a match. I wish you the best. At this moment, I've already decided, so I'm not waiting for him to text me back. Like at this point, it's kind of too late. Maybe if they come with like very good excuse and say, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. That has never happened to me so far. So when the man didn't write me for 3 to 4 days and I wrote him, hey, it's not really a match, I think they did not reply anything to that. Sometimes they just wished me the best as well. But this is how, right? I'm not getting emotional because, oh no, like we had this great conversation and now he's not answering anymore. Like, what's wrong? I did my part. Like, I answered his messages and I was a little cheeky, a little flirty. I gave him like something that he can catch up on and spark the conversation, like just lead the conversation in a way. And if he hasn't answered in 2 days, okay, bye. And with love, I just say, hey, not a match. I wish you the best. Like, this is literally how I do it because it's what I love about dating apps or dating in general. I know we tend to like always want to find like the perfect man very quickly, but actually it's so valuable to say no and to draw a boundary. Like this is such a cool and amazing experience. So all the men that you don't end up on a date with, like it's still very much worth it to just draw that boundary. After 3 days he didn't answer, I say goodbye and wish him the best with an open heart. And I can only be that open hearted because I don't take it personal and I don't think about all the reasons he didn't exit. I'm just, oh, okay, it's not really meeting my standard. Like if he would be interested, he would write me. I did my best. Okay, bye. And that makes it so much easier. And also, I think just thinking about my one friend, like just be calm. Like he doesn't have to answer within like two hours, right? Especially if it's like if he has a 9 to 5 job, like I don't mind if it takes him like 2 days or one day to answer me. So just like chill. Okay, not everyone's on their phone. It's okay. Like you haven't exchanged numbers yet, so right. I'm just barely on the dating app, so I force myself to get there like every day, like for a certain amount of time. So I just answer everyone so they don't feel like I'm ghosting them. So I understand that if a man, it takes like 24 hours or 48 hours, but right, if it's been 3 days, I just draw the boundary and just let go of love. And that saves you a lot of time and just heartache. That's one of the boundaries I have. Let me take a sip. Another boundary to avoid this texting trap. What can happen on dating apps a lot is that they just keep on texting, keep on texting, keep on texting, and you think, wait, but dating apps are just to have like some conversations and go on a date, but they keep on texting, like, I don't know, like, what should I do? Like, we've been texting for 2 or 3 weeks, but we kind of talked about a date, but he hasn't really like set a clear date with a time and a place. Like, what do I do? Like, it drives me nuts. Like, I hear that from friends all the time. Well, it's because you don't have a boundary. Yeah, and what I have, a very clear timeline boundary is I give men a week. I was more extreme in the beginning when I started on the dating apps. I gave them like 4 to 5 messages. So I would write in total, like for me, I would write 4 to 5 messages. And then I would just draw a boundary and I will just tell you in a minute how I did that. So I was more extreme, like just 4 to 5 messages. Like that was very extreme. Now I give them a week where we're just, texting a little bit. Most men, in my experience, that are actually looking for something serious, they will ask you out in under a week. Actually, there was this one man, we were texting exactly for a week, and then he asked me out. And some men do that even. I think this one man, like, he asked me straight away, like, we had just 2 messages. He was like, hey, let's go on a date. I'm like, oh, okay, that was quick. One man actually opened with like, hey, I would like to go on a date with you. Like, what do you think about this day and that place? Like, oh, I was kind of scared that, because I heard so many stories recently from some of my friends how they're stuck in this like whole texting, and I was so afraid that this happens to me now. But then I went on the dating apps, and the first message I got was like, "Hey, do you want to go on a date?" And I thought, thank you, God. Okay, it's not happening to me." So I give them a week to ask me out. What happens when they don't ask me out? I send them a message as well. I don't end it at this point, but I give them a message along the lines, hey, I really enjoyed chatting with you. It was a lot of fun. However, I'm not a big texting fan and I prefer meeting in person. I think 80% of the men ask me out. So do you see, I'm not asking him out. I'm not saying, hey, I want to go on a date with you. That's like someone asked me, why don't I ask a man? I don't know. I think I'm still a little bit like old school in that way. Like, I don't like that. And I also want to test if he can lead and make a move on me. So after writing this, they usually ask me out for a date or they disappear. Like, one man just closed the chat after just like, oh, okay, so you never intended on meeting me in the first place. Good to know. Good to know. Like, just imagine I would have written with him for another 2 to 3 weeks and waiting that he asks me out for a date. That would be like, oh, can't imagine. So I'm so glad I gave him 7 days and then he disappeared. Cool. I also had other men that I was writing. So I always write with, what I really like about Hinge, like there's a max that you can ride with, so around like 8 to 9 men max. But I kind of like, because then it stays like active and you have to close chats when you want new likes, what I think is kind of cool. Like, I like that structure because dating apps can be very confusing. But on Tinder, for example, you have like unlimited chats that you can have. But I think actively I ride with like 8 to 10 men. And from these 8 to 10 men, like I maybe go on date with like two men. Okay, so it's really like this big filter that I was talking about, like swipe on a lot of men as long as they're not big red flags, like just swipe on them. And then there's only a small portion that will actually match with you, that will actually write with you. Then you have a good conversation and then they actually ask you out on a date. It's like from this man you swiped to like this that you actually meet. But if you have all those boundaries in place, like all the men that I end up on a date with, they all wanted to get married. And they all treated me very, very well. To like, I didn't even know that they're treating me that well because, right, that's just how I started off. Like, my first date was like this, and all the other men that I went on dates with from day one treated me very good. They were always on time. They planned the dates. They texted me every day, and there's also like this thing called a follow-up message that I didn't even know was like a thing. Apparently, like after a date, when they write you how much they like the date and that they want to see you again, that's a follow-up message. And some women wait for this. I didn't even know that that's the thing, but most men wrote me like after 2 hours usually, like right after the date. And I thought like, oh, we just met. Like, why are you writing me again? So I was also learning a lot from my dates how to be treated. But that's a different topic, where we're just talking about the dating apps. So you don't have to stay on the apps, and I don't really recommend that. I think that's one big thing why it's more easy for me to do dating apps, because it's so easily to burn down like emotionally. If you have all those high hopes and you're always waiting for a man, it's a very good practice to like write boundaries is something we have with ourselves. So I don't care if a man doesn't write me for 4 days or 5 or 6 days. Like that won't happen because I ended after 3 days. So I don't need to wait for a man's message and hoping that he will reach out for like 1 or 2 weeks. No, why would I do that? I don't know this guy. And one of the signs that I'm looking for is like, is he treating me well? Like his profile can be cute, he can be intelligent, he can have this money. I don't care. Like, how is he treating me? And if he can't plan a date and make that move to see me in real life, then I'm questioning a little bit his intentions and if he really wants to go on a date and meet a person that he can do life with. Right? That's my mindset around this. And as I said, you can just end it with like, sometimes I feel like, okay, he hasn't been texted and I feel like we're not a match at all. So I just end it there and wish him the best. And on the other times, like after those 7 weeks, I just share, hey, I prefer meeting in person. I'm not asking him out, but I tell them my preferences and then they pick that up. Now, the next thing I do after, some men deselected themselves, others are now stepping up to ask me out on a date if they haven't already. I really like having video calls. So I don't give a man my number. Like some girls give their number to men in the apps. I don't feel comfortable doing this for multiple reasons. Like I don't know this guy. He can be weird, and I also think it's something he earns like after being on a physical date with me. Right? So I like having a video call just to, on the one hand, see that like this profile, like it's really him. I mean, I've never had like a bad experience in that way, but it's just, I don't know, you never know who's on the internet, and I just do that for myself to feel more comfortable and more safe. So I love having video calls, and I do them over Zoom or Teams or Google. I don't know. I always let the men set that up. That's also, by the way, a very great test. So I write them and they ask me out for a date. I tell them, that sounds like amazing. Like, thank you for inviting me. And then I say, I prefer just having, right? I prefer, that's like the feminine way of communication, just saying, like, what do you need? What do you want? I prefer having like a video call before. So I just want to feel more comfortable and I need that. So I don't go much into detail and reasonings why I'm doing it. The only reason a man really needs is, especially in the beginning, that I need that to feel more safe and comfortable. That's the only thing. Like if he starts arguing with me, I'm like, you're not the kind of man I'm looking for. Thank you. So I have this video call over Zoom because I let them set that up. For example, no, what do I want to say? Let me take a sip. Yes. So I tell them I would prefer like this video call, but I'm not sharing my number. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And oftentimes men then ask me, oh yeah, just send me the link. Like we schedule a call. So I never do that like in that moment. I always say like, okay, maybe Friday's okay with you. Because I have things going on in my life. So I'm not that easily available to just have a phone call right now. So I set a date with them. And usually they ask me for the link and then I'm like playing around a little bit and I just tell them, I don't really know how to create a link. Like, do you? And it's true, I don't really know, but I know that I could figure it out like in a minute. But if I can figure it out in a minute, he can too. And it's a very great test because most of the times men will find a solution and they already, right, they invested a little bit, they worked a little bit, they made an effort. And some men, there was only one case that was very interesting. So I told him just my preference. And then I told him, hey, I don't really know how to like do this whole link thing. Like usually the other men would do that. And this one man, said, "Oh, I mean, because yeah, I get that, but because you suggested to have a video call first, I think you should send me the link and I'm sure you will figure it out. Like, just let me know when you know." And I was like, "Oh my God, I was so freaking glad that I did not went on a date with this guy." And this just whole test of like, can you create a link? First of all, if you cannot create a link, like, what do I need? Like, what do I want to do with a man? I can't create a freaking link for Zoom when I can figure that out in like a minute. I could figure it out in a minute. Like, first of all, like, I'm also testing a bit like his problem solving abilities, and right, a provider man is someone who provides solutions. He solves your problems. So that's one test. And with this man, like, just imagine, just with this mindset, he was not a provider, like masculine empowered man, right? Just imagine, let's say we're on a date and it's a very crowded place. And I'm like very sensitive, like my senses are very highly developed and very intuitive. And I just say, oh, it's like it's just too much noise. Like I would prefer something more quiet. A masculine empowered man would just say, oh, okay, sure, like we will find a solution. And then we'll find a different spot together. Well, this kind of man, let's just right imagine he would probably say, oh, okay, I understand this. Well, since you like want to go somewhere else, I think you should pay. You should like drive me there and just plan now the whole evening because like you weren't satisfied with what I did. Right? That's the mindset. And just imagine when I'm pregnant, like how would this man like treat me? So that's always an amazing test to just see, okay, can they create a link? Can they solve problems? And do they respect my desires? Right? Some men, very few men, they started like arguing with me, and I don't argue with men. Like when it's about my well-being, I don't argue. Like there's of course a reason I do video calls because I just feel more comfortable and safe. And that's all the reasons I need. So if they start being like logical, like why are you fighting having video calls so much? So what I noticed and what some wrote me, like they feel a little uncomfortable in front of the camera. It's like the first time, like the last two men that I was having a conversation with on the apps told me like, oh, I just feel very uncomfortable in front of the camera. So I think they're just afraid that I wouldn't like them after seeing them on a video call. That has never happened to me before. Like that's a newer thing, and like that's so interesting. I don't know if I will end up on a video call with them. One was now open to do it, but that's very interesting. Usually they don't have any problems with this. But what also it helps to just get a first feeling if you can have a little bit of a conversation. Of course, we're all a little different in front of the camera and it can feel a little weird. But some of the men I chose not to go on a date with after the video call because I just from some conversation there was already like a value mismatch. With someone I was talking about like living, I don't know why, but it came up like living before marriage. And I believe, in waiting till marriage to live together. That's just my beliefs. And there was one man was like, no, I definitely need to like live with someone for a few years before I can decide to marry her. Like that's a big value mismatch, and I was just happy that I found that out before I went on like a 3 hour date with someone. So it's saving also a lot of time and just gives you a better just glimpse of can you have a conversation with this man or not. That's why I really like video calls, and it's also calming to see, okay, that's like a real human. And right nowadays, you don't know, I've never had bad experiences, but most like healthy men, they actually appreciated that, and they later told me like I really like this. I think I should do that again. Like not necessarily with me like in the future. I thought like that's a very good idea just before you. Some of the men, right, we it's long distance, so it's just cool to have like a phone call with video and you just see face and the voice. Like sometimes with someone like the voice was like so turning off for me, so I it's good to know now instead of like leading them on and then being on a few dates. So it saves a lot of time and nerves. That's why I love having the video calls. And most men, yeah, really enjoy that. And they also appreciate that I'm careful. Yeah. So healthy men appreciate that when you really take your time. And also some men, they like this one man, I think that was the very first man I ever went on a date with again. He said he had a texting girlfriend. I'm like, what is a texting girlfriend? Like, what is this? And he said, like we were just texting, and I'm like for weeks and months, and I was like, but you, why? Like, why are you not meeting? And he said, oh no, we always wanted to meet, but then something just happened and we didn't end up meeting. Well, and I was the one he was on a date with, and then after I think the first date, he told me he's not seeing anyone else anymore because he likes me. And then I ended it, but he was so sweet. I liked all the men. Like really, they were all so great. But yeah, they appreciate when you drawing this boundary with not texting. I also have a man right now that I go on a date with tomorrow. It's the first man after like a few months of my break, so I'm a little excited. But with him, he actually after this 1 week, he asked me, "Oh, Neil, like I think we already like texted enough. Like, do you want to switch to WhatsApp?" No, I don't want to text. No, I don't want to switch to WhatsApp. So when I told him, "Hey, that's yeah, I think the same. We had a really like fun chat." So I'm not a big texting fan, and I only feel comfortable sharing my phone with or number with someone that I met physically. And then he stepped up, "Oh yeah, actually I don't like texting that much either. So let's just like, do you want to grab like a tea or something?" And then I came with the video call, and we had a video call, and now we have like this whole date planned. Also, it's only a date if there is a clear day, time, and place you meet. So if someone asks you out for a date, but there is no clear time, then this is not a date. And I have this boundary with those 7 days. So if they don't ask me out within those 7 days after or I told them that I prefer meeting in person, then they don't step up. I just say goodbye because sometimes they maybe might be leading you on for a couple of reasons. I don't think that anyone has bad intentions, but I really care about the other person. It's in terms of I have my boundaries with myself, and because I want to love people and I want to think good about them, I have those very clear boundaries. So I will never text longer with a man than 7 to 8 days. And after the 7 days, it's only because, we're just checking in before we meet because usually, yeah, I don't meet exactly after 7 days. Sometimes, we all have our full schedule, so it takes some time to meet. But yeah, you don't need to end up in this texting trap. So if you have clear boundaries, and I think if you are in this texting trap, I want you to ask if you actually want to go on dates. Right? My goal is to go on dates. Like dating apps is just like a tool. I don't think that I need to be perfect and mastering the dating apps because it's just a tool, just like dating, right? You need to go out there and meet people and go on dates and have a fun date in order to meet your husband. Like you still need a first date with your husband. So it's just good to, yeah, practice dating, but it's the goal is not to be good at dating, if you get me, right? Because then you will always stuck in this identity of I'm dating, I'm dating. No, I want to be very good at being a wife, and dating is just it's just a part of this. It's just a way, but it's not my goal. And I think that's also helping a lot to have this goal of like being married, but I'm still detached in the moment, if that makes sense. But that's dating again, right? Let's go back to the dating apps. Is there anything else I want to say? Mm, so with the dating apps, it's basically like a video game. Like, don't take it too personal. It's just have a little banter, just flirt a little bit on the apps, and if you've been chatting and you feel like, oh, I want to go on a date and he's not really asking me out, 7 days and then just move on and you have other matches, right? So don't be too zoomed in on this one man who has like this really nice profile and yet such great chats, but he hasn't written you for 3 days. Like just have that boundary with yourself, okay? And it's supposed to be fun. It can also be a little bit devastating. Like one man, I was just ending the chat because he barely like asked anything, and I think in total he had like 10 words. Like honestly, like the whole conversation, I think everything in total he had like 10 words that he was writing me of like multiple messages. And then I ended it like very respectfully. And he said, "Yeah, I'm just giving you this tip. Like you should be more communicative in answer to the messages." And I was there like, you never asked me a freaking question. But now you're telling me how I should communicate? Okay, I was triggered for a moment as well. Okay, I'm still human. I'm not completely cold. Like there are moments on dating apps I'm like, what? But then it's always good to just remind myself, be patient. And if you end up, after 2 weeks with like 1 or 2 dates that were very great and kind, that's the goal of it. It's not to have 10 dates in a week. Like I don't really need that. I don't know if maybe it's possible, but that would be too much for my lifestyle right now. And I'm so glad that to zoom a little bit back into when I first started. I'm so glad I started and that I had and still have this opportunity with dating apps to just meet men and decide instead of waiting. I learned so much from actually going on dates. Things that I could have never learned just at home by myself, visualizing my dream relationship or buying all those courses or read those books. So I'm so glad I was brave enough to follow this desire. And honestly, on the first date that I ever had, there was a moment I was in the loo. I looked myself in the mirror, like in the eyes, and I thought, what the freak hell? Like, what am I doing here? This is so weird. But eventually the date just got better, and then I had so many beautiful experiences, and I learned a lot from men how I get to be treated. Like I didn't know that that's the thing that a man writes you every day. I learned that through men because they were always doing that. And now when a man like barely writes me, I'm also like a little confused. Okay, you haven't written like in 3 or 4 days. Like that's a little, I don't know. That's a little weird to me now, but only because I had the opportunity to meet those amazing men with the help of the dating apps. So as I said, like 90% of the men I met through the apps. So it's a great tool if you know how to use that and to have like very clear boundaries emotionally with yourself, right? And also like very structured in the sense of like how much time do you allow. What I also do regarding time, it can be very consuming, and those apps are also right there's like a part of gamification, so you have like all this dopamine with the matches and stuff like that, but I don't really like. I put on a timer, so I give myself in like usually like lunchtime and in the evening I give myself I think like 10 minutes. Like I really have a timer on because otherwise I get lost too because there's just so many matches, like so many options to swipe, swipe, swipe. So I have those 10 minutes timer and then I just swipe. And after I swipe for 10 minutes, I also give myself like 10 to 20 minutes to just respond to all the messages. So make it very easy. And it's just a tool. Of course, it's not that romantic. I agree. It's more romantic to wait like for this really neat, cute moment. I'm just I'm tired of waiting for something. Yes, I'm patient and I also allow things to come to me, but I also want to give my best and take my destiny in my own hands to a certain degree. And dating apps are just amazing. You can just start right now and move through your fears instead of waiting, okay, but I don't really know where to meet men and da 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 da, and then it ends up like being weeks and months later, and you have all those fears about going on dates with men, and they really heal when you go on dates, and even if you have a bad experience, okay, it's still very much worth it. So there were also like I think one man that was like a little, like too touchy, like a little weird. He was just a little weird, but not in a creepy way. He was just interesting. Well, it also felt so good to say no and just leave the restaurant. Honestly, it's always worth it, and I think dating apps are a great tool. I don't think it's the only way. I think it's there are pros and cons. I think when I'm more clear about like I want to get married now, I will also be looking more at networking events or through friends and through family. I think that the benefit of this is you already have more trust because they know someone, and on dating apps they're like you don't know anything about them, and if it's long distance, like you don't know anyone who knows them, and for me it takes longer to build trust that way, and you also don't really see them in their natural environment. So I'm still open to just meet my man, I don't know, at work or whatever, but I want to give God and the universe just options like, hey, I do this, I do this, I give my best. So whatever channel you want to use, like just use that. And I also remember with my best friend, I told her before I ever, used the dating apps, but I think I can just meet my man like in every way. So why, like, I don't need dating apps. Like, if we're supposed to meet, we will meet, no matter the channel or the way. And she said, like, yes, so you can also meet through a dating app. Touche, touche. And she actually met her boyfriend of, I don't know how long, like 2 or 3 years now, and they're very happy. I think they moved in um this month, last month, I'm not sure, in June. So she had very good experiences on Tinder, right? She met him through Tinder. And I thought, yeah, it's true. Like, okay, maybe dating app can be a channel, it doesn't have to be, but it's at least I'm doing my best. And as I said, right now I'm more dating for experience. I'm still open for the right man. I think that's crucial. Otherwise, I would have some like conflicts with my values because I still want to value each man that I meet on those apps. But yeah, I'm still chill with this. Like I don't need to find my man like ASAP and he needs to be the one. And this is also very much helping me with using the dating apps. And honestly, there are so many great men out there who on the apps who are just looking for something serious and who want to cherish a woman, have a date with her, and they will ask you out if you're an energetic match for this. That's why I think when you're really stuck in the texting trap, I always wonder, okay, like what is the benefit from this? Because there's a reason you stay on the apps and why you keep allowing men to text with you. Maybe it's like you need to hack a little bit your subconscious. If that happens and you ask yourself, okay, like why is this happening? Like what's the benefit? It might be okay, I don't get rejected or disappointed, like I don't get treated badly or feel like heartbroken after I had a few good dates and then he doesn't want to see me anymore. So there's always a reason why we're open for certain things. But now that you know a little bit what I do, it's like easy for you to get off the apps if you have like very clear boundaries and your goal is really to meet someone. Okay. Is there anything else? Now always keep in mind it's a numbers game. Okay, so you have a lot of swipes and don't be too picky with the swipes. Or maybe I can go into what I think is a red flag. Would that be helpful? Like just something when you swipe, what I consider a red flag? Let me know. Yes, okay. Okay, let me just visualize that for a moment. Okay, number one red flag is if he's shirtless. I always swipe away. I'm like, no, no. Maybe, like my best friend said once, she thinks that they are open for something serious, but they're open for something casual. And I want a man who knows what he wants. Like, you can't be both. Like, I can't, like, just the way I show up on dating apps, I can't be speaking to short term and long term men. When I really want to speak to the long term men, the pictures that I put on for short term won't work on them. They're like they swipe away. It's the same with men. So when the profile is very much focused on his muscles and his car and you see a lot of skin and he's working out in a gym, I think the difference is when he has a picture of the beach, like he's at the beach and you see a little bit of his skin. That's fine. I wouldn't do that as a woman, but that's like it's okay. Like if it's one of the later pictures. So if I see his shoulder on his first picture, I'm like, bye, bye. And obviously, like it's working very well. One friend of mine told me, was also very much into intentional dating. She never thought about that, and she oftentimes get messages like, "Hey, sexy," and like those weird things. And she never noticed, oh, she's actually swiping on men who have like those free upper bodies. I'm like, maybe that's the issue. Because it's just the same with women, right? If you have a great body, you don't need to show that off. And a healthy man who's looking for a serious relationship, he's not showing himself like half naked. Like, why would he do that? Even if he has a good body, like, why? So that's one of the red flags I have. What's another red flag? Mm, so what I'm looking for, just because it's like it needs to be a good match to me, I'm looking that his education is on a similar just standard like mine. I notice it's harder to bond with men who did not go to university. It's different when they're very successful and they're still growing their mind, but most men who did not went to college don't do that, right? There are exceptions, but that's something I'm looking for. That okay, similar education, similar degree. That's just for me personally. So if you're a very educated woman, that might be something you can watch out for as well. That's when I also sometimes look, at the profession. And I have some professions where I know it just goes against my values and I couldn't deal with this when we're in a relationship. That's also very personally tailored to me. So if you just imagine his job and his responsibilities, like how he needs to show up as his job, and that's not what you want in your life, then, but it's not like a red flag, right? That will be very just unique to you. Another thing that's definitely a red flag is when he barely filled out anything on his profile. So you have pictures, well, like nothing else. And maybe like just one sentence somewhere. A man who's actually looking for something serious, he puts some effort in his profile. Okay, so he will answer some questions, some prompts that you get on the dating apps, and will be very mindful, and he will also write in full sentences. Yeah, my mom is very much into like grammar, so I grew up that way. I have an issue with men like don't use full sentences, and it feels like they don't know how to write. It's just a little bit unattractive to me, so that's a thing for me. Just a personal. Yeah, but they need to have like you see there's some effort in their profile and intention. That's one thing. Is there another one? I think mostly that's it. So as long as those things are not there, or like it's right there as intention and profile and everything, I swipe. I think it's right. I'm not sure. I always give like the heart. I don't really swipe. I give them a heart. So even if I think, oh, that's not the most interesting job, or I don't know, like he looks not that cute, I don't care, right? You need a big amount of swipes to even go to like one good quality date. So and someone really surprised you, like someone really surprised me, like they look way better in real life. Like I'm not going so much for looks, so that's not as important to me. But I was not sure like if we really match, and then we went on a date, and the date was really, really good, and it treated me so well. It was so much fun. And you don't really see that just from the profile. So it's good to be less picky. Let's just see, okay, is he looking for something serious mostly? I mean, on Tinder and on Hinge, you have this in, I think, right under profile it says looking for something long term. I'm hesitating, like if I want to swipe on men who are also who say that they're open for something short term, but they're looking for something long term. I'm not sure about those. I like it when someone really says, okay, I want like a strong long term relationship. That's usually the man that I go with. But outside of this, I'm just swiping. So you have to keep in mind that even for you, it's just a fragment. Like your profile is, it's not the whole person, right? From my profile, they don't know that I am, in a way, they can sense that I'm more traditional and I like it a little bit more old school. And when the man is like the pursuer and provider, like they can see that from my profile pictures, but they can't be sure. So for men, it's very similar. Like they don't know if you have their values, right? And some of the men that I go on dates with, they also said, like, what are you looking for? Like on a first date, like, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? Well, I'm a woman, so I'm like looking for something long term. They're like, oh no, no, no. I thought like that those men said like I thought, yeah. I think women. I always thought women look for something long term, but I've been on a few dates recently, and I don't know like what why I felt like they just wanted to spend a night with me, and I'm like, I'm just looking for something long term. Like men told me this. Okay, so it's also for men. They don't know the full you just from the profile picture, and it's always a little risk. So on the other hand, with the pictures of the men, their profiles, you don't know that. That can be some of the men that I met. I never thought that they would have my values, but I could just tell a little bit from their profile that they're definitely going in the direction, but I was not really sure. And I was glad that I gave them a chance, even though I was not completely like blown away from their profile. And also most masculine men, like they don't really know how to take good pictures of themselves. So be aware of this too, and don't be too picky. Just like write only those red flags. Like that's what I do, and I have very good matches. And then some of them will write you, and you will just have some conversation. And also in those conversations, you will like trust your gut. If it feels weird or you have like just this crampy thought, then just trust that. And I think one thing I learned from the dating apps and from dating in general is that yes, I owe everyone respect. Like that's not that I owe it to them, but I want that. I don't ghost men. So I always write them, even if I don't really feel so much, and I'm like, oh, that's so uncomfortable to say that. But even if it takes me 2 or 3 days, I always write them, hey, like your job, like I can't live this kind of profession in my everyday life. I'm sorry, I just have to say it's not a match for me. Because I don't want to get ghosted. I don't ghost other people, so it's a little bit like this karma thing, you know? So I'm really aware of this. But there was something I wanted to say, right? I forgot. Trust your gut if it feels weird. Oh yeah, the one lesson, like you don't owe anyone anything. So if there's a moment in the chat where you feel like, okay, I've already written within like 4 to 5 days and we're talking about having a date, but I don't know, something feels off, you can always say, hey, I'm not feeling it, I don't think it's a match. Even after the video call, like with someone I had a video call, that was one of the first I had a video call with, and I agreed to go on a date. And after this video call, I just had a few moments, and I just breathed into my God, and I just listened like deep into my soul, and it felt like I don't want to go on a date with this man. And like, oh no, like what am I going to do? So I could have gone on this date because I already had a video call and I already said yes to a date, but I felt like no, like this is also uncomfortable for him when we're on a date, and I don't really want to. So sometimes I like very rarely, it was only one time. I just got back to him and I wrote him, hey, I know we had planned this date, but I feel it's not a match for me. I'm sorry, just yeah, it just came up. So at any given point, you can say, hey, it's not a match for me. After one date, after 2 dates, of course, it's like nice if you can give him a little bit of like feedback why. But that's something I really learned, to listen to my gut. And if something feels off, then it's always right, and I can trust that. And I have the responsibility to take good care of my well-being. Like those men online, they don't, like I don't know them, and at this moment in time, I don't have trust. I'm always thinking positive, and I always believe in the best in people, but I'm here to take care of myself, and I don't wait for a man to do everything perfect, right? I just see, okay, see to my standards, like, is this going somewhere? Do I feel, even before I go on a date, like, do I feel like something's weird? Then I just let them know and protect myself and also them in a way, so we don't end up on a date that we both don't enjoy. Because I had that experience one time. That was, I think, the third man I ever went on a date with. We really didn't enjoy that. And he will be maybe in the first moment a little, nah, yeah, but it's better also to draw those boundaries if you feel like this. Okay, so your body always knows. And then just be open for the experience. You don't have to figure everything out from the get-go and think, oh, is this like, is he going to be a good man? Is he not going to be a good man? Just give them a chance. If there are no red flags, just go on a date. And if you enjoy the date, go on the next date. If you don't enjoy the date, then don't. Okay? I think there's the sweet spot. I think some women are very picky. They always try to find out if this is like the right man before they even go on a date, and then they miss out on a lot of good guys. And on the other hand, sometimes we go out with a man even though we already have like this gut feeling of something's weird. So as long as my gut feeling is positive and neutral, if there's like nothing I really notice, like I'm not attracted to him or anything, but it's just like it feels neutral, I'm still giving a man a chance when he's showing up right and he's texting me regularly. So I give those men a chance. Men that ghost me, I don't give them a chance. Even if they had the cuter profile, like I don't care. That's also a very good test to see where do you stand with yourself and your self-love journey, right? Because if you're really healthy, you're only attracted to men that show up for you. So it gives you a lot of feedback. And I think the biggest reason why I attract those good experiences are, one, like the structure that I have, like the few things that I shared with you. And it's my energy. I just think positive about men, always, right? When they ghost me, I don't think, oh, he ghosted me, like, oh, like what did, like he's such a bad man. No, I just think, oh, interesting. I wonder, like, for how long? Oh, it's been one day. It's been 2 days. Okay. Next day, I will just end the chat and tell him, like, when I already texted with him, I don't just end the chat, like, you can do that. But I always write them, like, it's not really a match for me. And it's kind of fun to be like, oh, okay, he has 2 more days. That's a little bit my mindset. So I'm not mad at him. I'm just like, oh, let's see. And sometimes they actually come back after 2 days. But I have this very optimistic mindset, and it's because I have the structure, and that's why I believe men are very good. I believe that there are marriage-minded men out there, and so it will be reflected because that's my energy. And whatever energy you have right now, whatever beliefs, yes, they will be like challenged and mirrored back to you, whether it's in dating apps or in on physical dates. But that's so cool. Like, don't be afraid of what will come up. I know I am sometimes. Oh, I don't know if I like what I mirrored back. I don't know. But when you get that mirrored back, first of all, sometimes it's a lot more beautiful than you imagined. And the other thing is, you can also see where are like blind spots, right? If I would be on a dating app and texting all the time, and I'd be like so mad that they don't ask me out. I would be like, okay, why is this happening? Like, what do I need to tweak in my behavior and in my beliefs? And that's so helpful. Okay. Is there anything else? You've definitely won if you just take the first step and go on the dating apps and also have like fun, experiment a little bit. Like, okay, what's happening if I do this? I wonder what happens if I do that. Like a little bit childlike, like don't take it too seriously. And have hopes, like not necessarily hopes, I don't like hopes, but faith that it's it's working out for you. You will have great days. Like I don't think that I'm the exception. Just online, I think people just like to talk about how everything is like bad, right? Maybe like some trauma, but it's definitely possible to meet amazing men. As I said, every man wanted to get married, and I did not ask them or anything. But it's because I'm in this energy of I'm a wife, I'm looking for something long term, so I swipe differently. So the more you work on yourself and in attention and what you believe in and what you're available for with yourself, you also start choosing men differently. I think generally in life and on dating apps, and that's something no one can really teach you, right? And you can't run to your mentors all the time like, oh, like what do you think about him, like should I switch or not, like should I match or not, right? That's like too much effort all the time to have like someone always looking over you, even on dates. You want to be embodied in the beliefs and the situation, like your dream dates, like how do you want to feel, like really visualize that and believe that this is possible and it will come into your life and you will subconsciously just choose different men on the apps. Like a lot of it, honestly, I just feel into it energetically. I think I'm just in a point in my life where I can do that very well. I can just feel into the energy of a profile and then I just, okay, is there like any red flag? No. Energy feels good. And then it's very intuitive because my channel is so clear, right? Because I've never been in a relationship. I believe in only the good in people. And when I just don't show up, I'm not mad at them. I just draw boundaries, so that gives me a lot of safety. So you don't need to have the perfect script or like the perfect, like, is this like this matching all the standards that I have, and then I can swipe. Just also work on yourself, and then you will subconsciously choose different men generally in life, if that makes sense. Okay, I saw there were some questions. Hmm. It's like such a big topic. I mean, I spent almost like a year, I think, just studying dating apps and how to set up profiles very well. I mean, if this is something that's interesting, I can probably make like a separate video about this, because there's also like some formulas and strategies what you can write in your profiles, what pictures you can choose so you attract like high quality men, I guess. Okay, a question. You mentioned using Hinge. Which others did you try? What are the differences you noticed? Is it making a difference in who you meet? That's an amazing question. So I started. What kind of dating apps did I use? I started with Parship. What I like about Parship, it's a German one, and they have high quality, right? Just also the security of your data is very well with Parship. And on Parship, the benefit is it is paid only. So you can create a profile that's free, but you can't see pictures and you can't exchange messages. So it's like, yeah, it's not that fun if you don't pay for it. The good thing is, because you need to pay for it, it already filters out certain men. Right, on Tinder, it's free for everyone. So they're also like men who don't really give so much about that and they're just seeing it as like a very cheap option to maybe hook up with someone. On Parship, men need to pay, like, I don't know, it depends on what kind of um subscription, like membership you have, but they pay like good money to be there. So they're more dedicated. Like if that ever happened to you, right? If you invest, I don't know, $1,000 into a course, like you're more likely to actually like do the thing than if someone handed it over to you for free, right? It's just like human psychology, and that's definitely on Parship. It's very nice. I would say like 90% they are looking really for something long term. And the men that I met on there told me they used other apps, but they were very unsatisfied with that. So they started using Parship. Like this one man I was meeting, an old lady recommended that because he kept meeting like women who seemed like they only want something short term. And then he switched to Parship, and then he met someone like me, and then he was very happy with this. So that's the positive about Parship. What is a little difficult for me is in the area where I live, almost no one uses this app. And so most of my matches were long distance. In the beginning, I was open for that, but there are a few challenges. Maybe if I'm more serious about like really getting married, I would be open, like no matter where he's from. Maybe if he's from a different country, I would also be open for that, and we can make that happen. But yeah, that was just one thing. Not that many matches in my environment. I'm from the very east of Germany. I think if you live in bigger cities and more in the west of Germany, you can have like very good matches there. And the energy of the whole website and the app is it's very calm. So if you like it, if you're not big into social media, like that can be very nice. I think Tinder is very loud. A lot of people, a lot of colors, but Parship is very nice, and they give like a lot of intention into their profiles usually. That's very nice on Parship. That's a paid one. What I like about Tinder, that was the next one that I was using. I usually use two at the same time. It just gives you some variety. I mean, most profiles are on both apps as well, so men are kind of doing the same. But yeah, on Tinder, I think the benefit from Tinder is huge. It's there's a huge amount of men there, and that helps you to filter out, like to have more material to then end up with a quality date. There are just more people, like it's a very popular app, and also it's nice that you can match with people around you, right? So in your environment that are very close. And so that was the app that I was using. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so the first time I was dating, maybe for 4 or 5 months, I was only using Parship. Then I had a break. Then I was, after the break, the first break, I was using only Tinder. Now I have another break, like I had a break, and now I start with Hinge. So that's interesting. I just noticed. Yeah, so Tinder is where we allow it. You need to filter a lot, but it's great that you have a lot of people that are directly in your environment, and you have like more people to deal with, so you can actually filter out good ones. And everything is free, but can be nice as well, right? Pros and cons to that. And I'm also on Hinge right now, and I really like the design of Hinge. Like it's very classy. I think it's like a nice in between Parship and Tinder. So it's a little bit more similar to Tinder, but like just the corporate design. I like the corporate design of Hinge, and very attractive men. I don't know if I just changed my energy and now I see more attractive men, but there are a lot of really like attractive people on Hinge. I don't know if it's the app or if it's just how I changed over the months. I can't say too much about Hinge right now. But I really like the app. I also think what's nice in the free version, I'm having the free version right now, is you have a limit to how many likes you can give. And because it's so easy to get like stuck on the apps and like swipe, 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 it's nice if you have like already this boundary given by the app. But at this moment in time, I really enjoy. So now the second part of the question, right, is, wait, what was it? Is it making a difference who you meet? And here's the funny thing. No, on all the apps, that's energy, right? That's just where I come in with the way I set up my profile and just who I am and what I send out. No, I met amazing men on Parship, amazing men on Tinder, and on Hinge. Like we will see, I have my first date tomorrow, but this man was also very considerate in planning the first date, what I barely have. Like oftentimes I need to set a lot of boundaries, even with the first date. That I like it when a man comes to me, for example, and I don't feel comfortable being like in a strange city, even if it's like a neighbor city of mine. But he didn't even argue. Like he was just, I think I never mentioned it, and he just said he's coming to me. So yeah, even on Hinge, they're great men. The app doesn't really matter that much. That's interesting. It's just a little preference, but I think it was good that I started with Parship though. Yeah, but Hinge is very nice right now. I like the design. I don't know if this is like the best benefit, but I just kind of like to design very attractive men. But yeah, no, it doesn't make that big of a difference. not for me, right? But you also attract uh, what you send out. Yeah. And I think the main reason why I'm filming this is not necessarily to give you all the strategies and the structure and what to do. I think like the texting trap is like good to avoid and have like some ideas like how you can do that. It's more the energy because I have so many good experiences. I think whenever you maybe have like a moment of, oh my God, why am I doing this? Oh, you can just come back to this video and just, right, it can be fun and just calibrate to my energy. I think sometimes we don't always have to figure it all out by ourselves, and just listening to others that have good experience and just be in their energy gives us a little bit of that magic too, and that's just what I'm hoping like I'm giving to you. Do you also dress very modestly on the dates you go on? Or do you just do that to filter through your profile and then listen up when actually needed in real life? I I don't wear turtlenecks all the time, okay? So yes, in my profile pics, you mostly have turtleneck pics. I do loosen up a little bit, but I think from what you can tell like from my videos and you know me like a little bit, I'm very modest. Like in the way I show up, I'm more the elegant type of woman. And I feel better when I it's cool when it's winter because then you naturally don't show that much skin. I feel better when I have like some fabric. I feel more protected in a way. It's not that as I said, I feel like I only had good experiences, so no man. I never noticed it. Maybe it happened, looked like at me, like right on my body parts and on my boobs or anything. I never had this experience. I'm also like very, very slim. I have like an A cup, so nothing you can really look at. But no, I still like my body, still my body. But yeah, I just feel it feels better to me. So yeah, I am also wearing modest clothes in real life. Of course, you don't want to be a completely different person on your profile. So one of my friends told me, Anna, if I would real like this turtleneck things, like I'm small, I'm petite, I have a lot of curves, like I would look ridiculous. I was like, you don't need to wear like turtlenecks, but I think it's good to be very modest on the profile. So no bikinis or like deep showing a lot of skin. That definitely helps to filter out. And honestly, like on the first or second date, I'm like, why would I show a lot of skin? Yeah, no, so I'm always pretty modest, and I think the things I wear. But on dates, I'm definitely more aware of like wearing something more closed off. I just like it. I feel better with this. And men also compliment me on this. So it's easier to stand out than you think. Like some men compliment me on, oh, you're living with your family, like this is very rare. But I really like that. Why? Because they also value family, and it's kind of rare that someone is like 24, 25 is still living with their parents together. But healthy men, like, they don't mind because they love that you have this close relationship with your parents. And if you don't show a lot of skin, that's also very nice. So I only wear clothes that I would wear in real life too. Okay, and actually, before I ever went on dates, I don't know, I like a little bit of like getting into the energy, and I didn't plan to go on dates, but I was like buying me some lipstick and some shoes with like a little bit of a heel and some nice outfits that I can wear that I started wearing every day before I even went on a date, so it feels natural. I'm still very authentic on the dates. I'm maybe like putting on a little more lipstick than I naturally like would do on an everyday basis. But I want to be authentic, and it feels weird if I'm like dressing completely different on dates. So I made sure, okay, how do I want to dress up on dates, and how do I want to feel, and what kind of woman do I want to be on a date? And then I started becoming this woman before I ever went on a date, if that makes sense. So just imagine like what is like the dream version of you, not me, but you. Like how do you want to feel? How do you want to be looked at? And then just look for some clothes that I feel like yes, that would be so much fun, and then start wearing them in everyday life. Honestly, if you meet me on the streets, you can always think that I'm going to a date. Honestly, because I just love dressing up and feel good about myself. It's not exclusive for men. But yeah, I hope this is like answering your question. Yes, how to set up the profile would be interesting as well. Okay, I can make a separate video for this because that's more strategy with the profile. And today I think it was more like about the energy a little bit. but I can do that definitely. I was set on one up now. Oh, amazing. I love this when you're pondering around this idea and then like, no, I do it. I made a decision and hey, I'm so happy for you. That's already an amazing step. Love that. Okay, I have a question. I'm at a point in my life now where I'm open to meet people through apps as a possibility to meet people, yeah, but also to just learn how to date, to learn what I want in real life instead of just trying to figure everything out in my head. Also to learn more about myself through experience, 100%. Yeah. But the thought I struggle with is I would feel bad if a guy told me he's just dating for experience, or to have a good time, or to be around nice women, since I'm looking for a long term relationship, dating for marriage. I feel the seriousness around the whole topic. So, how can I approach dating with more lightheartedness while still keeping my standards and values? Like, not trying to meet the right person right away, but at the same time, not treating people like I'm just using them for experience. Oh my God, I feel you so much because I had those kind of conversations with my mom, and I was also saying, hey, I need experience, and I'm just doing it for experience. And she was like, but you're kind of using men. Like, what do you mean? Like, I would feel bad if someone said I'm just dating for experience. So I can 100% relate. How I think about it and how I started dating, because I had the exact issue, is there's a reason why this desire showed up to go on dating apps and to meet men. And in order to meet my man, like my husband, I'm also reflected enough to say, okay, honestly, I think I'm not there yet. So there's also a reason why you don't think like, no, you want to meet your husband. I think that every man is the one. So even the one who's, ghosting me, like, oh, he was the one to show me this. The man that asked me out for a date, but it never happened. Oh, he was the one helping me to set a boundary in this way. So when I go on dates with men, the I think the thing is I am still open. Okay, you have a desire for a relationship and dating for marriage. So you are open. Some part of you, like, I want this long-term relationship. You just don't know if you're ready now. So what I do is I go on dates with an open heart. I feel like I'm not really there yet, like, but I feel like God is like pulling me. Like I can't stop looking at men. Like literally, I was mad at myself for months before I actually went on a date. And there's a moment where I can't go back, and I felt like I can't go back to being 16, 17, where I was not desiring this. But I also can't be like stuck in this like, I don't want to date because I don't want to marry. So the only way through is now, or forward is going through this and just making the next bold step. So when I'm on the dates, I'm open. Hey, maybe you meet your man, like maybe the next date is the man they're going to marry. I'm open for it. I would not say no, right? If God shows me this is the one, who am I to say no at that point, right? Well, I don't think I'm really there yet, but I'm open. And still, the man in front of you might not be the right one, and you need more practice, more experience. So instead of thinking like I need to practice with those men, you kind of do, but in this moment, the man in front of you is the right one for you. I think that's something that really helped me. He is the one. He is the one in front of me right now. And maybe he's the one that I'm going to spend my life with. I don't know. Or maybe he's just the one that helps me to learn how to say no and never go on a date with him again. Like, I don't know where this is going. And as long as you keep that openness, you're not really using them, right? Because there's no guarantee in dating. And as I said, like if you feel after one date, no, like our values don't align, like I have this weird gut feeling, you can always say, I think we're not a match, but I wish you the best. And men know this. Of course, it's never fun to get rejected, and I don't really like rejecting men. Just naturally, I'm more in the position, and as when we're more in the position, usually we are the one doing that. Not all the time, but for me, like 99% of the time, that was me. Still, when I'm on a date, I'm showing up and give him this experience like I'm fully in. Like we will see where this is going, but I give you my full attention. And this can be very healing for men too. I think even the men that I, rejected on the dates, they said, oh, they never met like a woman like me. And I could just see in their face how much they enjoy to open doors and pay the bills and be appreciated for that. So the more you're present on dates and you're still there with an open heart, you're not using them. You know, sometimes when you walk in the streets and there's just one kid smiling at you, that already changed your mood and your life, but this kid doesn't have to be around you all the time, if that makes sense. So you never know what you always attract your reciprocal. And I don't necessarily know what the men that I dated needed to learn, but I learned like from some of them, I'm like, I learned so much about myself, and I'm sure they did the same. So then our, paths, yeah, right, always like ended, but there was a reason where we were drawn towards each other, and maybe just that mindset helps you that you are open, but you're like not that attached. And actually, it's very cool when you say, I don't need to find my husband right now, but I want to go on dates, because you learn so much about yourself. And I think you can give a man such a beautiful experience when you just enjoy being on dates and letting him have this experience with you. You still change his life in some way. I know that the man that I went on dates with, even if it just was, one date, they changed my life for the better. Even if you know, he was weird and I ended it, he helped me to draw a boundary. So maybe you can think about it that way. If this is helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, good. I'm glad I could help, because I really had this issue as well. And then my mom, oh, you're using them. No, I'm not using them. It just, I think when I started going on dates, I had this mindset, okay, I'm just going on dates. It's already scary. I'm doing this. Learn more about myself. Like so long, and there will be a moment where I say, you know what, now I want to get married. Like now I feel more ready. And it's good if you approach dating like this, I think, because you want to learn and you want to grow, and you might not be like ready. Like I think one of my mentors, she always compared that to the Olympics. Like you don't, let's say your man is like the Olympics, right? It's like the biggest thing. And right now you're sitting only on your couch and you don't even like train or go for a run or anything. You want to go on a run, you want to first put on those shoes, have a nice outfit. Then maybe 2 weeks later you start going like outside and just for a walk. Then you start running. And then momentum builds, and at a certain moment you will be like ready for meeting the one for life, I guess. So don't rob yourself from all the experiences that are out there. And also I think there's more than just this one man for us who is the one for life. Every man that I met was the one for me in a certain period of my life. And honestly, imagining that I would save myself only like for this one man, what I do in a way, right? I'm ready to marriage and everything, but I'm allowed to have fun now. I'm allowed to connect with people now and learn more about myself, because in the end, it's about you becoming a wife. It's not necessarily about you have a husband now and you get the perfect man. No, it's who you become along the way. And other men can very much help you with this. And you never know, maybe the first date and it's the one for life. Like who knows, right? So just be open, and there are no guarantees. You can always say no after a date. No one expects you to just, text with someone and then you need to marry them or anything. And men know this. Like when they're mature enough, it's just part of the game. Okay. Was there anything else? Yes, I think it's helpful to think that way you explained. I'm happy. And also it's like find your own ways, right? That's also part of dating, like to have those questions like, I don't know how to deal with this, not I don't have all the answers either, right? And there are things my mentors couldn't help me with, and I just needed to find my own way. For example, I prefer in a first date having more like a coffee date. Like no one can tell me that this is the perfect date, or say that I should do that. Like that's something I needed to find out myself, because some women really like dinner dates for the first date, and there's nothing wrong about it. Just what do you prefer? And like going on dates, it's the best in the world. Like you will learn so much. And for me, like so many wounds that I had from high school where I like guys and they liked me, but they never really made a move on me. And I felt like something's wrong with me. And then being on those dates and having those men say, "Oh, you're actually so stunning and you're so different." And after 2 dates, they just tell me I don't want to see any other woman. I'm like, okay, like just rewriting that narrative, that story that I build up over all these high school years. That was so healing. I could never do that by myself. Like, I love men, honestly. Like, they helped me so much in just healing this. Yeah. And you can now also play a little bit around with all the things you've learned and apply them with a man. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Dating's supposed to be fun. I always feel meeting someone is so serious, like I'm committing to something or owe them something if I sign up for a date. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't know if I already answered that. But that's also really like you can, okay, why do I feel like I owe them something now? Where is this coming from? Because you don't. Yeah, but it's always interesting. That's also one thing, like you can now work a little bit through your beliefs even before you have started going on dates. It's okay, what helps maybe? This is just my mindset. I'm a little like going against the grain. My mindset, it's only serious if a man proposed to me. It's only serious if he proposed. Because that's how the male brain works. They receive commitment very different from women. And if you're only meeting one guy, I can pretty much guarantee that you feel very committed and that you owe him something now. That's why it's good. That's why I do rotational dating, because meeting multiple men like really helps you to just stay sane and don't over invest in something that I don't like. I don't think that your date feels like that you're already committed. Some men do, and then I'm always a little confused, and I always remind them, well, we're not really official, so I'm keep meeting other men until I'm in a serious, like, committed relationship. And some men will ask me to be their girlfriend and did ask me to be their girlfriend, but like that's also something momentarily, just for the moment, right? It's still not really a decision. So because it's like so ingrained into my subconscious from watching my mentors that it's only serious if you propose, I'm so freaking detached on dates that I think that's one of the reasons why men ask me to be their girlfriend very quickly. Because I'm just so, I don't need it and I don't really want it. And most women, like, they think about, oh my god, when is he going to ask me? When is he going to ask me? Like, I don't think that, because it doesn't matter that much to me. Okay, so I don't know, like, where are you in your journey and your beliefs? But because I believe that, I'm so freaking relaxed on dates. Yeah, because I know it's only serious when you propose to me. Before that, we're still seeing both, right? It's like a job interview. It's not about you go on a job interview and you just desperately want that job and that they take you. No, you're also proving the other party, right? So come a little bit in this mindset, okay, I'm vetting this man myself. It's not like, what do I own? It's like, is he showing up right? Do we have similar values? Like, have fun for, but also see, okay, is he matching the things that I'm looking for? You know? And that puts you in a different, it puts me in a different position, I think, because I'm not waiting for him to do all the things that I dream of and buy me a house and marry me. I'm just like, no, let's see, right? Okay, every man can show up very nicely for 2 or 3 weeks. Like, is he going to do that in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months? Like, we will see. I can enjoy the moment with you. I'm very much in the moment. Actually, for me, it's so funny. It's the opposite. The men that I meet, they sometimes like confuse that we're not in a relationship right now, okay? And they already start acting like this, and then I need to remind them, I like you, but we're just not that committed yet, right? They haven't asked me or anything. And they are sometimes tend to be a lot in their fantasy and in their future. But that's not my responsibility. I'm here right now, and I think from date to date. And I let them know that, like, sometimes they would talk about like future events. I'm like, oh, well, let's just go on another date first. They're like, oh, you're like not thinking about me like in 6 months. Like, I don't know. I'm optimistic. I like you, but I just see if just the next day, and let's see where this goes. So it's also my job, I think, to keep the man a little grounded And when they're a lot in their fantasy, that's not your responsibility. As long as you're not giving them false hopes, right? I'm very honest with, oh, I'm here right now. I think I want a next date with you, but I cannot say if I like if we be together in a year from now. I don't know, like we will see. I'm optimistic, but yeah. That's interesting what you just mentioned about different feelings of commitment between men and women. Yes. If you meet only one man, the way we're wired as women, we start to feel committed. And I am no different. Why do you think like I keep meeting different men? I'm no different. Before I discovered this, I had that problem. There were some in my late teens, there were some guys I really liked and they liked me too, and I only spent like time with them. What means like once or twice a month. Like that was already a lot for me. We're not talking about this, okay? But I felt like so dedicated, and they were not that dedicated. And then I learned, oh, women bond when they're only, even if it's not the right man for you, when you only spend time with him, you're more likely to talk yourself into that. And I'm so guilty of this with some men. I thought, no, we're not a match. And then I spent a lot of time with them, like, yeah, but he is kind of cute and sweet. And then I was like getting more committed and committed, and I only wanted the best for them and wanted to take care of them. And then I woke up that it needs to be earned. My love, I want to give love. That's why I date the way I date. That's why I don't stay on dating apps for too long, because I want to bond. I want to give man a beautiful experience, just like I want to be cherished and adored and appreciated. And that's why I'm meeting other men. It keeps me sane. It also shows me who's actually showing up right for me. So sometimes the cute and hot guy, he's not really consistent. And then there are other men, they're not that good looking, but they're very emotionally current. And they show up like so nicely well, and I go more with them. Why? Because I value myself. And if you keep running after guys who don't treat you well, that says something about your relationship with yourself. I'm only going with men that treat me well because I'm treating myself well and I have no place for drama in my life. But that's the reason why I'm doing rotational dating, because I'm definitely like, for me this is so true. I stop bonding with men. Even if I only see him once a month, I feel like I want the best for him and we can make this work, until I learned, wait, but that's something a man needs to earn, this level of commitment and love. Of course, I'm always open hearted and also on dates, like appreciative, and I also like give in a way with my energy, but it's also something that needs to be earned, that I think about you all the time, or that I ride with you multiple times a week. That's something you earn over time with me. And men appreciate that. And if I wouldn't know this, honestly, if the last man, I would have been screwed. Yeah, he was so nice, really very beautiful. And then in the end, it came out that yeah, he wants a future with me, but he's not really sure. And maybe like in 2 years we can get married, but maybe not. And that just, I'm not available for this, because I know a man knows whether I'm the right one for him or not. And because I believed it's only serious until he proposed, like all the sweet things that he said, all the way he showed up, we weren't the right match, even though he was very beautiful and very kind in his actions, everything. And only because I knew he might be saying all those things. But if I would agree to be his girlfriend in this moment, I would have already decided. Honestly, for me, I can't, I don't understand the difference between girlfriend and wife. I just know how to wife. I am fully dedicated to someone. I want to give my best. I want to make it work. And I just can't stand to be with a man who's not 100% in. Like, I think it just goes against my heart and my psyche. And because I know men have a different understanding of commitment, that saved me. Honestly, because I would not understand, like, if a man tells you you're a stream girl and everything, but he doesn't really know if he wants to spend his life with you. Like, good that I know this now and not in like 2 or 3 years, you know? So that's really something where I needed to call myself out and be like, no, only serious if he really proposes to me and wants to spend his life with me, not just saying it. Yes, and that's why I I'm already attached on the dates, and I just give them space to show up and just to see where things go and let it unfold. Yeah, but that's also a whole topic by itself, like the whole commitment difference between men and women. But I see that like what men have, you know, this whole phenomenon with men like being in relationships with their girlfriends for 12 years and then they break up, they're in an age where they want to get married, and then they find a woman and they marry after 6 months. I'm rather this like woman that you marry, like I'm not the girlfriend. Just I don't understand it really. I think it would really ruin my experience and my trust in men if I would do that. That's one of the reasons I'm doing rotational dating and I've decided not to be a girlfriend. Yeah. All right. Any other questions regarding dating apps or something you want me to talk about in future lives? Then I can just note that. Ah, that was a lot. So definitely like how to set up profiles, right? Files. Yeah. I'll give you a moment. Otherwise, we can just wrap that up. Just let me know if there's anything else. Did I miss a question? Hmm. But yeah, I'm so proud of you that you showed up and give this a chance. Dating apps, yeah, it's so interesting. I still think it's not the best option out there, but it's a great tool if you know how to use that. And apparently, you can have very good experiences with this. And I pray for you that it's the same with you. But you always get what you need, and you can handle whatever comes your way. All right, no more questions. I would just maybe, I don't know all the things that I said, so I think about how do I wrap this up now. Okay, so dating apps are a great tool if you know how to use them, and just take them as a help to meet people, but don't see it as like really dating. I think online dating is not the right term for this. You're just checking in. It's more like a video game. Have your boundaries in place, like your emotional and regarding the a timeline, so you don't like fall into this whole trap of texting because that can be very frustrating. And just be open for the experience that want to come to you, and the right man will find you. The right man, so multiple men that are just wanting to come into your life. You just need them to give them the energetic permission to come. And you never know, like maybe in a few weeks you have like very nice dates and you definitely learn more about yourself. And dating apps are just there to empower you. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. Chad. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm glad I could share this with you. And I hope there was just something in it that was just a confirmation. And yeah, you're more than capable. Like you're very intelligent. And there's a reason why you have this desire. Just trust it and also be patient. Sometimes I catch myself, right? It's only been like a week and like, but I don't know, will I ever end up on a date? Yeah, now I have a date tomorrow. So be patient, give it some time, have your boundaries in place so you don't need to be mad at anyone. And then just have fun with this. It's not supposed to be super serious. Yeah, dating apps are a tool, and now you have more of an idea how to use them for your own benefit and help men to find you. That's what it's about. All right, then thank you so much, and I see you in the next one.